Everything ugly in my life, everything painful, everything horrible can become something stunning. And that is the joy in what I do.
Hey, I'm Kim, and welcome to Songwriter Saturday. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce singer Raye, who is not only an amazing artist in her own right, but she's also an incredibly prolific songwriter. The London-based singer-songwriter has written for everybody from John Legend to Beyoncé to Ellie Goulding to David Guetta and so many more. Raye, so great to have you on Songwriter Saturday.
Thanks, Kim. Lovely to meet you and a pleasure to be here.
I wanted to start by just bringing it back to the beginning and finding out a little bit about how you first got involved in music, or when that light bulb moment was when you were like, you know what, I want to sing, I want to songwrite.
I've kind of been set on this being my life for a long time. I wrote my very first song when I was 7 years old, and I remember it word for word. I wrote it about a homeless guy. It was called Change My World. We were walking through London, me and my family, and I saw some homeless people, and I was like, why are they there and why are we okay? And it really inspired me. So I wrote about that, and I think it was the first time I kind of learned, even though I was 7 years old, what it is to express yourself through a song. And I fell in love with it, and I just didn't stop. This has been a lifelong dream and goal for sure.
You released an EP at 16, right? Really young.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Was the initial thought, I want to be an artist solely? Like, were you even thinking about songwriting for other people at that point?
No, I remember hearing Charlie XCX and Emily Sandé. I was hearing pop-up names of women who I was inspired by, who had written songs for other artists. And I was just like, iconic. Like, this is my goal. Like, I will be an artist, but I will be a songwriter. And you know what's hilarious? I remember sitting down with my publishers on the day we were signing, and I told them this. I said, guys, I'm going to write you so many songs for other artists. And they didn't believe me. They actually didn't believe me at all. And my publisher called me maybe like last year or two, just before lockdown, and was like, do you know what, Raye? Like, I just have to say, like, nobody thought you was going to do what you did. Do you know what I'm saying? As a songwriter. Like, you actually said you was going to do it and you did it, and we're so proud of you. And I was like, wow, that's so cool.
Is one of the things that's so great about being a songwriter is you can kind of dive into different genres without having to think about how cohesive this is going to be for you if you were an artist.
1,000%. In fact, I actually think all artists who are songwriters experience the same. You know, Shape of You by Ed Sheeran was originally written for Little Mix. And what's hilarious about that is Ed would never have written that for himself, because when I'm writing for myself as an artist, it's such a different experience. You think about things way, way more than you need to. You're using a part of your brain that when you go to write for other people, you have a freedom, because your only purpose is to leave with a hit for that person, or to leave with a big song or a song that artist loves. And that for me is, that's easy. That's fun. That's just fun. When you come to do your own stuff, you're like, right, it's so much more tricky. So that's why actually you find, sometimes I'll go to sessions and I'll write like a great song, and I'm like, I just wish that this was a Raye session. Like, why did I do you know what I'm saying? But it just comes out so naturally and easily writing for other people. Yeah, it really is. Less pressure.
Yeah, so weirdly, it's like less pressure, but also more pressure because you're working in some cases with very big names, right?
It's actually a pressure to prove myself. And I think that is a real energy as a woman that you have to have in this industry, because I feel like without that fight, I wouldn't be able to be where I am today as a writer. When I walk into a session with a new artist or someone I haven't met before, my goal is to make them love me, love the song, and want to get back in the room again. And that's my objective. Interesting, actually. Yeah, it feels like a therapy session.
That's the way I like my interviews to go, so we're right on track. I mean, but speaking of like walking into rooms, walking into writing sessions, which are predominantly male spaces, like, you were doing that as a teenager. Talk to me about what that experience was like and how you learned to sort of handle yourself.
It's something you don't even notice until another woman walks into the room. Like, that's what it was like for me when I was young. I didn't even notice something was wrong. But then I remember working with a female engineer for the first time and being like, wait, something is wrong, because this is a whole different energy to then what I feel when I'm in a studio normally. You know, I think definitely an element of fearlessness is very, very important when it comes to songwriting. And it also comes into play in all the environments that you may find yourself in. Because, you know, I've had times I'll roll into the studio, you know, I'm working with another artist. They've got 10-man squad deep. They've got a male engineer. You got boys posted everywhere. Like, and it's just little me. Like,
what would you say is like the best part of what you do?
I think accidents making something iconic. I really believe in music pushing boundaries. The most gratifying thing is when you stumble on something in the initial process, so obvious, but so fresh. I literally like get this bubble of absolute energy. I'm just running around the studio because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is genius. I'm like, get it down, sick. Like, I just come alive. So for me, I think it is that initial creative process that I am most in love with. And you know what? Everything ugly in my life, everything painful, everything horrible, you know, can become something stunning. And that is the joy in what I do, because it is the ultimate medicine.
Let's talk a little bit about your collaborative partnership with Mabel, because it's been ongoing for a minute.
Yes.
It's clearly fruitful. Like, what's the rhythm of your songwriting like? How do you guys work together?
Over lockdown, we developed a really beautiful friendship, and I don't think either of us realized like how badly we did need each other. Let Them Know is my first production credit ever.
How was that?
I mean, I always produce in sessions. I just never get credited for it. But this is the first time that I have been. So, and all the people I created this song with were like, Raye, you deserve your production credit. Take it. And I was like, oh my gosh, what?
Congratulations.
That is a real moment.
Can you explain, again, for someone who's just coming into the industry, can you explain the difference between being a featured artist and then having something like Regard and Raye, and what that means in terms of accreditation, splits, publishing, like all that stuff?
We are kind of all aware of how, like, especially in dance music, it is so it's so male, and it's like rent a vocal, you know. This is when I knew there was a problem. I was listening to the radio when You Don't Know Me had dropped, and the presenter was like, and this is Jax Jones with You Don't Know Me, and then played the song. And I'm like, wait, what? That's Booker Shade bass line and my top line. Are you crazy? Say my name. And it broke my heart. It absolutely ripped my heart apart, because I was like, oh, wow. I'm just a voice, you know, and no one cares about me. How do I make people care? And it just becomes this whole thing. And I really, as a woman now who's spent quite a bit of time in the dance community, it was such a beautiful thing, because I went to Regard when he sent me Secrets, the remix he'd done. I'd written that song about 2 years ago. It was a completely different tempo. It was an R&B song that he basically remixed and brought it to life. It was beautiful. And I said to him, can we share this record, please? Because it's frustrating when I'm writing the songs, singing them, and they won't even say my name on radio. I'm like, what? How is that fair? You know, do you know what I mean? So I said to him, can we share the song? And he was like, of course. That meant that I get my first Brit nomination as a lead artist, you know? And like that, I have so much respect for that guy for doing that for me, because it made me feel valued and seen. And often as a woman and as a songwriter and a woman in the dance world, you feel heard but not seen.
Do you have any other tips for aspiring or up-and-coming songwriters that you want to impart to them here on Songwriter Saturday?
If you have that feeling in your heart, in your gut, that is like, this is my purpose in life, then see it through. Because have you ever seen that? There's like a meme on Instagram that I always see, and I absolutely love it. It's like a guy like digging for diamonds, and then you can see, you know, they've like cut like a hot, you know, they've taken a picture of it, and we can see that the digger can't see that he's about to stumble on the biggest diamond, and he puts his axe down and turns away because he's had enough digging. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just like, if this is what your purpose is, just don't stop. Don't stop. A&Rs are on Instagram, bro. Like, they're out here looking, you know. It's not as if this is, you know, 1970 where you had to have a man to slap a bag of money down on the table and be like, play my artist record. It doesn't work like that anymore, you know. It is just networking, hustle, and skill and talent. And there's enough information out there for you to become the best. So why would you not, you know? I just think relentlessness and persistence and being lovely and kind and getting back up and keep going. That's what it is. That's what it's about. It's just don't stop. It's been 8 years and I just feel like I'm finally getting to that point where I'm like, wow, I've really been waiting a long time to get here, you know? And it's been a minute. And if I'd stopped in the middle of it when it got really hard, you know, this is the stuff they don't talk about, yeah? You Don't Know Me was huge. Everyone was like, Raye, blah, blah, blah. Then I had a dip and it was like, I put out a few songs, you know, and I couldn't quite figure it out. And then all of a sudden it went to this point where like no one cared anymore. Like, or, you know, my label was like slicing my budget in half and then quarter again. Like, this is the reality, you know, and then I have to be on Instagram like, hey, like, life's great, you know. Meanwhile, I'm like, I'm failing. It's not working. My career, what do I do? How do I save it? I kept going and I won't stop. I won't stop. And that's the attitude you have to have. No matter what anyone tells you, it's like, what do you know? Shut up. I'm going to be a great songwriter. Go away. Do you know what I mean? You're wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong. Yeah. Persistence. Come on. Show them. There's space for us. There's space for everyone here. Do you know what I'm saying? There really is. We need girls up in this. If you're a woman and watching this, please, just please, please spread the word. Spread the word. Please spread the word. We need female producers in here, babes. Like, come on. We've got work to do.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, wow. I feel like that was really motivational speech for me, and I'm not even an artist. That was great. Raye, thank you so much for hanging out. This has been so awesome to talk to you and find out more about your story.
A real pleasure. Thank you for giving me a chance to talk about it.